Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Heather.
And this is the Father's Day Garden Update.
I'm going to show you this is our garden that is right behind the barn. It's right next to our chicken run and our compost pile, and this was kind of a garden that was a little bit of an afterthought. Like, we needed more space because we had too many seeds and too many plants. And so we went ahead and we planted this garden.
This garden has everything in it that you could want. It's got raspberries, blueberries, dill, cucumber. It's got popolo. It's got tomatoes. It's got tons of lettuce. This garden is just flourishing. And Heather's going to show you some of the more interesting things about the particular plants in it that we're raising.
All right, so right here we have our raspberry canes, and now some of them haven't done so well, like this one here, and there's a couple of them down that way that are not doing well, but these here are doing great, like this one, that one, and that one. This here is a volunteer squash plant. We did not plant this. We actually had our chickens in this area before, and they had access to this entire area. So that is a volunteer plant. I have this one here that is a volunteer plant too, and uh-oh, this one got stepped on. We'll put this one back. But that there is a volunteer tomato plant. So we have one here, and then one more right here. This is a volunteer plant. We planted none of those. All through this row here, this is all our lettuce right here. We've got just regular leaf lettuce. We've got your Boston bib lettuce here. This is romaine. This is oak leaf lettuce right here. This is some curly lettuce. And we have a few of like the red oak right here. I need to weed in here a little bit, but and then just a whole lot more leaf lettuce here. Right here we have this was a cabbage plant that was given to us later. I'm not sure it's going to do very well, but these are peppers. We have cucumbers, and then our dill is in there too. And then over here is our asparagus that we're letting just we didn't pick any of it. We're letting it go to seed. You're supposed to wait 2 years before you pick your asparagus. There's more cabbage and broccoli here. These are watermelon plants right in here. More cucumbers, more tomatoes, more peppers. So, and then a couple more cabbage plants back here. We have some purple cabbage.
And the chickens all wanting in here.
Yes, they'll escape and come in and eat all my lettuce. All right, so these here, if you look at these beautiful plants, these are the pie pumpkins, and we got the seeds from an American homestead. And these things have just done fantastic. This here is the popolo seeds that we got from them. This is a substitute for cilantro because here your cilantro is ready before your tomatoes are. So if you're making salsa, your cilantro will already have bolted and it's not any good to use. So we're gonna try this in the salsa that I'm gonna can. And then back here I've already got some little tiny tomatoes on here. I'm so excited. And then over here, these we've been spraying these because with some neem oil because we've had beetles that have been eating on these, but these are eggplants. So we've got 2 of those here. So we'll see how those do. They look like they're coming out of it, but we have to spray them every time it rains because the stuff washes off of them. So we're trying to do things organically. So we'll see how they're doing. But like I said, these here are just, I'm so happy with these.
So we're going to try some of our popolo we got from an American homestead. Jamie and Zach, thank you. We're learning so much from you guys. We appreciate all that you do. You guys have got a lot of information that's helped us. So we're trying some of the popolo. Oh, yeah.
It does. It tastes very, very similar to cilantro.
Very similar to cilantro. And a little bit like candy canes.
No, it doesn't.
Just kidding.
This is some of the very first stuff that we planted. So this is like Boston bib lettuce, and it's getting ready to go to seed, and that's okay because I have some more over in the other garden. And this area too gets a lot of really direct sunlight, and lettuce, when it gets super hot, will actually get bitter. So we're going to go ahead and let that go to seed, and then try to collect the seeds, which I've never done before, so I'm going to give that a try. That's going to be a new experience for me. This here is our spinach, and the same thing, it's getting ready to go to seed, and we're going to try to collect the seeds from that. Right here is our kale, and we just harvested it, and it's already starting to grow back. We've had a lot of kale come out of here.
Surprisingly, I've started to eat kale. But whatever we have left over that the family doesn't eat, we give it to our rabbits and they go nuts over it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so right here we had, I had it for my peas, and my peas didn't do very well. We only had one pea plant that did okay. But as you go further down,
Max's strawberry plant.
Yeah, Max's strawberry plant. These are our potatoes.
The only pea plant we have right there.
Yeah, right. So this is our potatoes here. We've got potatoes going, and we've got the straw on top of them to keep the weeds down, and so we don't have to hill them as much. Right here I've got lime basil in these, and parsley in that pot there. The lime basil's done better than the parsley has. I think next time I'll just plant it in the ground. Over here is our other row of potatoes, and then here is where we've had a little bit of an issue. Underneath this stuff here is the wood chips, and we've got 4 rows that have wood chips in it, and we have learned that we don't think we were doing it right. We had a tree that came down, and they chipped it up, and we kept them, and we put it on the garden, and we let the chickens be in here and dig and everything. But everything that we've planted in here has been sort of stunted. We dug down under the chips and planted in the soil. But we have cabbage all through here, and it's doing all right. It's not very big though. We have a couple of pepper plants that have done all right. And these tomato plants, which are my Amish paste tomatoes, they're doing okay. As I move down though, if you see, like the plants, this is a tomato, and it's not very big, but I've got pepper plants here that are extremely stunted, and they're not very big at all. So I'm thinking that we did not do that right, and our plants have done better if we put like the compost down, and then the cardboard, and then the straw on top. We're finding that that actually works better. So if you look here, we have this is my tomatillo plant. It's doing wonderful. It's doing really great. But again, I've got some cucumbers here, and they're not doing so hot. They're kind of small and short, and they're kind of vining up, but not really. They've got blossoms on them, which is good, but they're just not very big. And then these here are our zucchini and squash plants. Now, I planted these way before I planted any of those over there by the barn. And the ones over by the barn are huge. These are tiny.
So what we're seeing is that the things that we're learning from guys like Justin Rhodes and Brad from Big Family Homestead is let the chickens do the work tilling up your garden. The wood chips aren't necessarily going to be enough. You've got to have that natural tiller in your garden, because over there behind the barn where we just were, that's there's a lot of life there. There's a lot of things thriving there, where here under these wood chips it's not working so great. So we're going to be very conscious of ever doing that again, and paying attention to the pH levels in the soil.
Yep. These are our onions, and the first set of onions that were planted, if you notice, there's kind of like onions all over the place, but these here were done by my kids, and so they're kind of all over the place. But I appreciate that they were trying to help me in planting. These here, I planted the ones in the middle of the row, and the old Alabama gardener has a video on planting onion sets, and these were onion sets, not the little bulb onions, where you have to put them in the ground, you wait for a few days, and then you pull all of the dirt and stuff away so those onions grow really big, so you have slicing onions. Here we have these are jailbreak chickens, the ones that keep getting out of our electric fence. So we're putting them to work. In this row here and at the end of that one over there, nothing wants to grow. So we're going to have them deal with this here and fertilize it and scratch and peck and all that kind of stuff. And we're just going to let that go for right now. And so that's what they're doing here. But these are our tomato plants. Now these tomato plants here were planted 3 weeks after the ones over there in the wood chips, and look at how they're doing. These tomato plants also survived frostbite. Every one of them got bit, and I picked all of the dead off of them, and they're doing fantastic. I got these plants from Krista over at the Big Family Homestead, but I have an entire row of tomato plants that are doing incredible right now. Got to get some cages to put around them, but they're doing really, really well. These right here, these are our melon and our more cucumber plants here. And then at the very end, those are pepper plants. Those were given to us by our neighbor over here. He didn't have room for them, so he gave those to us, and we're like, sure, we'll go ahead and plant those. And we also have more pepper right here. These are pepper plants too.
They're looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so wah, wah, wah. This is our bean plants. Some of them have done well, but you can tell there's like gaps in them. These are our Blue Lake beans. And then up there are our Kentucky Wonders. These, I believe, are more Blue Lake beans on that side there. They're doing okay, but some of them just aren't coming up. We had kind of another one that is a climber that was supposed to be here. None of them came up. So I think it may be too hot. I've been told that maybe it's too hot for them to come up right now, so we might plant something different here since nothing came up in this row.
I think Katie planted that flower.
Yep.
A couple pepper plants.
Yep. So we need to get out here when it cools down and weed a little bit. For us, it's easier to weed after it's rained. But these are our okra plants here. If you see them, they're here and here and here and here. They're doing pretty well. And then again, we had some more beans that just didn't come up, and then ones that did. These are more cucumber plants. These, I just planted the seeds in the ground. I didn't start them from plants or anything. And I planted these 4 weeks after I had the ones that are in the wood chips already in the ground, and those were plants that had been started. These are doing way, way better. These here, these are more pumpkin plants. Pumpkin plants. And these are the giant moon pumpkins. I have to laugh because this is where my husband planted something. And right here, if you look, there is a loofah plant here, here, and then there's one here, 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 here. And I think that's it. He took a handful of seeds and just went, and then tilled. And that's what happened. So,
hey, it'll grow eventually.
This is my daughter's flower area, and it's kind of cool because you can see there's bees on all of these flowers. She wanted pollinators in our garden. This section here, she had 4 sunflower plants, and our darn dog ate every one of them. She like chewed off the flowers and then pulled the stems out of the ground and ate every one of her sunflower plants. So this is her area here, and they look beautiful. Her zinnias and her dahlias and everything. I mean, look at the bees. There's a bee right here. See it? Got pollinators all over them. So this is doing really well. She needs to weed a little, but it's doing good.
Well, guys, that's our garden, and it's us working towards future food. Future food that'll help support our family as we keep moving forward. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, carrier pigeon, or smoke signals with your friends. However you want to share it, feel free to share it. We're glad you joined us. Please like, subscribe, and comment.
Yep.
More updates as we go.